Okay, so I can see my own stream now, but okay, so this is kind of interesting. I'll try to do something for a second. Okay, so how is sound? Is sound working? Hello, Ollie, and hello, Mladen. Um, so we had a bit of an oopsie with the internet here. Um, okay, so sourcing that y'all can hear me. That's great. And I hope that the sound, like the quality of it, is fine as well. So we had a bit of an oopsie. Nothing on my part, of course, but if I'm guessing, it was something uh, like maybe a stork flew into the well, not a stork. It's not really season for storks yet, but maybe a crow flew into the mast or something. Either way, we're back. Um, and where were we? Right. Okay. So Apu, this young woman who's come mysteriously out of the blue from the forest, she's staying with the hermit, and she um, she's helping him with a bunch of stuff. So she shaves his face. She gives him like arm warmers. Um, like arm warmers. I don't. Is that a word in English? An arm warmer, like a sort of thing that you wear uh, on your arms to keep them warm. And my take, I guess, is that they're back. I think it was me who was gone all along. It was my internet that was a bit messed up. Um, and to me, it looks like the video output is a bit wonky right now. Actually, I hope that's not the case. But so this is one of the things that that come with living in on the countryside or in the countryside. I'm not sure. Um, Either way, Apu shaves his face. She gives him arm warmers and a colorful tunic that she's brought with her. And each evening they eat stew and drink distilled pear wine, making them happy and careless. And he doesn't think about, and for 10 days he doesn't think about gods, but he's just looking forward to seeing Apu smile every morning, uh, and seeing Apu being happy about the gifts of the gods. Um, but on the 10th night, she speaks to him solemnly. Um, it is now almost time for me to go home, she says sadly. When I tomorrow have seen the pear flowers fall, or the pear blossoms, I think you'd say. When I tomorrow have seen the pear blossoms um, fall to the ground, I will travel away. I'll, and so he gets confused and sad and doesn't eat anything, and so because he can't bear the thought of Apu leaving him because he's been so happy. So he goes out into the forest and sits himself down on like in a pile of snow, and he says, "Gods," he calls. After Apu came to my hut and began living with me, I've been happy. Like I guess you could say ever since. So ever since Apu has come to my came to my hut and began living with me, I have been happy. Um, I cannot bear the thought of Apu leaving. I will do anything I can to make her stay. And she doesn't. So the hermit doesn't sleep all night. Very early in the morning, however, before the sun rises, he goes to hunt with his bow and his bow, his heavenly arrows, and the spear that never breaks. He wants to make sure that Apu has lots of food for her journey. But when he, without um, without being careful, targets a deer and shoots his arrow at it, it doesn't hit it. It doesn't hit the deer. Instead, the arrow hits a stone, so that the arrowhead of Topaz um, splinters into many pieces. Um, he keeps trying. So, oh dear, something went wrong with the stream again. Sure hope not. Oh no. Oh dear. Okay, so everyone. Okay, well that's weird. I had a problem just now. That was real strange. Um, okay, fine, great. Um, great. Right. So it's being weird. The internet, at least on my part, suddenly everything about the stream closed on my phone, which is where I'm reading the chat and seeing that seeing my seeing my own stream. Um, let's see if we can make this work together. Um, basically, this is where I'm at with the story. So instead, this arrow hits a stone so that the the topaz head splinters into many pieces. Um, and this is where I'm at with the story. So I'm going to leave the ending up, and luckily the ending is hidden behind a wall of Danish text. So we are going to turn now to the Aedian text. So this is where I am at so far. Which means it happened like unfortunately accidentally. Um, it happened that that in its place, like instead of the deer, um, he hits the arrow. It hits a rock. So that happens, and so this the arrowhead made of topaz splinters into many pieces. Okay, so we are going to find a verb for which is blive vil in Danish. Aulanu, which is a word I have used a lot in this story because it's also used in some forms to mean to stay, because Apu stays with the hermit. So he keeps trying. And do we have a word for to try? So what I have is I've got words for trying, as in testing or examining, or something like that. And I've got, like things for like trying, tasting, and such, but I don't have a word for attempting. So I will have to look at Old Aedian and see if I have a word. So basically, my Old Aedian dictionary has these stars, meaning that they're that this word has already been like transferred into Aedian. So I know when I look at this word for a bed, lodi, I know that there is a word here in this dictionary meaning bed, which is, or no, not necessarily meaning bed, but at least derived directly, like a direct descendant of this word. So that's just to explain the stars. So I'll look for something. Okay, so apparently I don't have a word for that. So we need to think of words to say that you're like ways to. So how do we conceptualize, attempting something? I'm thinking like attempting, trying. So what do you essentially do when you attempt something? When you try to do something. Okay, so you don't get there. Trying implies that it doesn't necessarily, that you don't necessarily succeed. Elise says throwing. Oh yeah, because throwing is sort of, like it's sort of not, like, at least if I hit someone, like I know that I at least hit them. But if I throw something, like the way that thing ends up is uncertain. So I will find a root. Okay, so I actually don't have a root for like throwing. Okay, so let's do that. Any ideas? Like, this is how words kind of look. In these are just a list of some basic roots. So if anyone has ideas for like a root for throwing, we'll try working with that. Basically, it's every root is CV. There can be diphthongs, and consonants can be pre-aspirated. Stops can be pre-aspirated. So this is your one of your only only chances to get your very own root into the Aedian language, I suppose. Firne. So that's not really a a a a word that you can have in Proto-Cawlo, which is where I'm trying to um it doesn't Proto-Cawlo didn't have doesn't really allow for that syllable structure. Oh, theta. So we don't really have a th in here, but we could go for t, like this one here. So we don't have an s either, unfortunately, in Proto-Cawlo. I think I'll mix them. So I'll go so something like yeah. And so this word would result in what would that be? That would be iru, which is this is a tap. And in Kotekish, this would be something like hesav. Yeah, hesav. Yeah, that's what that would be. Right? Yeah, that's. But so this is kaste prøve slynge something like that. So throwing is the main thing here. So into Old Aedian, we get a verb which would be gue, guetau, like so. So we get a verb. This is divalent because you throw a thing. So it's my way of saying transitive. So kaste slynge. And so this would take a, perhaps we could have like, so it could be trivalent. So so what would, so in Aedian, that would give us a wonderful word that would look like so. Bitau. I really like this segment summation. The one about Peckin Alphany. That was a lot of fun to write. So the word bitau, which has the perfect bitauia and the imperfect bitaudu. And so this could be prøve, forsøge. And so due to the nature of the original word, which was to throw, could it be merged with the reflexive particles to make something like one throws oneself into? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So we could actually keep the original throwing thing, and so you throw something in the accusative onto, like, at something in the indirect. And so that which is thrown here, so I would just make a sort of a passive deepen. So forsøge, prøve, and then that which you try, like that which you attempt to do, would be in the indirect case. Okay, so this allows us to translate. So we had a word. He keeps doing something. Blive ved. Okay, Cawlo nu. Så Aula, and so we have to figure out if this would be in the perfect or the imperfect. Basically, the perfect is things, actions, events that can't be changed in the moment, that are, you can't alter them. So usually they're either in the past, or they're punctual, or they're very immediate, or they're just inevitable. So he keeps trying, and so the imperfect is the opposite of that. So that's things that are usually longer in duration, and you can change them, you can interfere with them. I'd say that this is a imperfect one. So we have ku, and then trying, we just found out that would be bi, tau, and so it keeps trying, and I guess that I would put this in the imperfect as well. Kubitautkat, aulanutka. So this is our imperfect nominalization, and this is our indirect case. And so we also need to make this the passive. Oh no, this was the passive, because that was the trying one, attempting. And that would be I actually have to check what my nominalized imperfect. Okay, my passive. Okay, so that would be bitau, maybe bitaudu tuskata, bitauduskata, kubitautuskudaulanutka. So he keeps trying, and then it goes on to say, and only with his last arrow he gets a hit on the deer. So we need to sort of think about this. This Danish word "først" means first, so it's the last arrow is the first to hit the deer. So I think I just want to translate this with like finally, or maybe like maybe I would just say only his last arrow hits. So only, which I believe is gonna. Yeah, go. Go is our word for only. Go, and a arrow. An arrow is what I meant to say. An arrow is tua. His last arrow. So, so I wonder. I don't think I actually have a word for like last. So the last thing is a what? That is so that's the end, like the like at the end of a rope, and I actually think I have a word for that. Oh yeah, that's the root here. So So I think I'll have to do a compound root here. Chanye would be good. So we get a. Basically, I am assuming that this is a sort of a noun turned into an adjective. So we get chanye with an adverbial chagunye, adjective, which means last. Sist endelig. Oh, sist endelig afsluttende. And so what would that look like in Aedian here? So there's no particular reason that I scroll all the way down. I don't order. I don't, it's not sorted alphabetically or anything. I'm just like that. So let's see. So what was the word? Oh, so that would. Oh, sorry. Why did I? For some reason, I didn't convert it into its proper old Aedian form. So jaye and jaguye. So in Aedian, that would be sai, which interestingly is the same. That's like the Japanese, a common Japanese like morpheme, I guess you could say, meaning like the last or the ultimate something. So sai with the adverbial form. So that would be saoi. I guess that would jaguye. I think this might. Oh yeah, this would probably. I could see this getting like very irregular. So this would probably end up as sagui, which Mate, I'm really sorry I couldn't have stayed longer to relay here. I hope I helped just a bit. But I guess have a great time. I hope we'll see you around some other time, Mate. It was great having you here. So we've got a word meaning last. Sist. Endelig. Avslutningsvis. Okay. Great. So sai is the last arrow. Sai tua, something like that. And I should have a word for like hit, to strike. Yeah, I do, and it's Olga. So, I think I'd throw in a but here. He keeps trying, but only his. Yeah, so that would make sense. But only his last arrow hits the deer. So I would say here, kupitautuskat aulanutka. He keeps trying. And then what would that be? In the arrow here, so it's taua in the plural, so that will be toya. Toyas No, wait, is it? Oh yeah, so this would be toipe. In fact, would be saitoipe. Geu apti. So this apti here is that means but. But our I guess our clause conjunctions always they're always in second position in the clause. This is our little only, which connects to the following word. Well, it specifies this one. So only. So he keeps on trying, but only the last arrow hits the deer. So the deer would be Dirugya, I think. Dirugya. Interestingly, the Aedian word for deer is dir. It's not alone. That's just how it turned out. Oh, okay. So it's actually died. So dairuya, which would be the proper word here. Dairuya. Kubi tauduskat aulanutka geoapti saitoi petauruya. And then something for hit, which was Olga. Olga. Okay, so that's one sentence. And we're only 1 hour and 20 minutes into the stream. Great. But you know, art takes time. So this second sentence is rather long. But what are we looking at here? Hold on a second. Oh yeah, okay. So it means so as he wants to kill the wounded deer by cutting its like its nape over. So it wants to hold on a second. It wants to cut the nape of the he pierces through its neck so that the spearhead of copper hits the heart, sort of the underlying the rock underneath on which the deer is lying, and gets bent. So that is to say, the copper spearhead gets bent, not the stone stone floor, the ground beneath. So that's what we're dealing with. Okay, so we have to figure out. So wanting to kill the wounded deer. So, do I have a word for wounded? I do not, but I can easily make one. So I have a word for wound. Liga, from which we can derive a word, ligidu, maybe something. So we could go with, or would it be ligadu? I'm going to be popping off too. I'll get back in a couple of minutes. That's great to hear. It's just fine. I think Is it idu? Or is it adu? Oh, it is. Okay, so it's ligadu. I'm just trying to keep track of my derivational stuff. So ligadu, which would have the adverbial form ligaudu, meaning, oh, not a verb, an adjective, meaning hurt or so some hassle, some. Okay, so this adjective ligadu, but then again, do we want? So this is basically Aedian usually uses adjectives when the thing described inherently it's like if when that quality is an inherent part of that thing, of that noun. So it's not, being wounded is not really a thing that is, it's not an inherent part of the deer. So I might actually just, I might put this in the adverbial. So the adverbial is kind of a misnomer in Aedian, or would that only be? Okay, maybe it's best if we find a word for to kill first. I know that's, oh yeah, that's ka. So ka means to kill, and deer is dir, and so maybe, okay, we could make a relative clause out of this. So dairuya, and then we'll make a relative clause of this. Gedairuya, that is ligadu baka would be the word here. So this is the copulative verb, in the imperfect. So meaning that it's, it's temporary, or at least it's not an inherent part of its, of its being. So gedairuya ligadu baka. So he wants to kill. What does he want? He wants to kill ka, which would be the perfect I guess nominalized form of ka, which is identical to the stem, but that's just how I write it. Gedairuya ligadu baka ka, and then we put it in the finalis mood here. So kamai, which means like that's the goal here, and then nu shotka. This means to wish or to hope for. So hoping to, oh, so we have to put this here. So okay, so he hoping to kill the deer that is hurt or wounded. He does what? Kuki no shoka Oh, bye. Wow, glad to see this channel is making content again. Yeah, so we're the mod team. We're excited to bringing regular content to the channel. So so he wants to do this by cutting its spine. I wonder. I do. Who would have thought? So tira, and I think I want to specify that it's the spine, the cord. So I think I'll use the word for cord or string. So the cord of the spine would be taira. Taira deupika. And so to cut or to separate is megu. And so this would be, okay, I think I'll put this here actually, the beginning of the subordinate clause here. So we would say taira, or perhaps this would just be, we could also make it an inseparable compound to avoid that double definite thingy. No, we'll keep it this way. Deupia, taira deupia mego, right? Mego, yeah. Great. So the spine's cord cutting the deer. So wanting to kill that is wounded by cutting the cord of the spine. What does he do? He pierces its neck. And I believe I have a word for pierce. Like something like that. I have a word that sort of means that, but it means more like drilling a hole. Day. So maybe I have something in old Aedian. Okay, but that's okay. So this seems pretty. This would probably be the appropriate word here. Day. Okay, he does what here? Cooking shotka. The neck. Do we have a word for neck? We do. Which is also the word for language, because there's kind of a polysemy here of neck and throat and language. So language is like just the way that we sometimes say that language is a tongue. The Aedians call language a throat. So, baesuya, this would be. Baesuya, Dedidi would be the proper. So he Kuki no shotka Baesuya Dedidi. He pierces the neck, the throat, so that okay, so we need to sort of add a way to saying that like it was done da, 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 so what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to find the proper conjunction here to say like this is why it happened. No, that's more so that okay, so maybe I could just use a like it means and then. Or I could use this one there. This has a lot more to do with. This is more like it describes the sequence of events, while this one has to do with consequences of certain events. So what I could say is I could make this, I could nominalize this and then I could put a could be in here somewhere, which would make it, yeah. So this and this happens, therefore, and such. So the arrow, no, the spearhead. Do I have a word for that? I do not, but I do have a word for spear, which is kutu, and then that would be. So Evaristos, hello. Hello. I am translating a short story that I have written in Danish into Aedian. I wrote it for this purpose, like to write it in Aedian. I just, had to conceptualize it in Danish first. So it's about a hermit who gets a bunch of gifts from the gods, but at this point in the story, it's at this point in the story, at least the arrows, which were parts of that gift he got, have stopped working, and we're also now learning that the spear, which was supposed to never break, is suddenly starting to get bent. Koitu tae, and I need to copy the thorn here. Tae fish is bent. And doride deride koitu tae fish be. Or wait, oh, I have to put this in the I have to make it definite. So let's see, where do I put the definite here? Okay, so it's tathais, like this, tathais. So the spear's head, it's taith is more like it's just can be a blade or an edge or something. So kututaithais it it hits the hard like the floor sort of. So I think I'll reuse this word nuda, which means floor, to make it also mean like the ground. And I should have a word meaning made of stone. I don't. Huh. Okay. So I do have a word for stone in Old Aedian, Fuki. Um, so what I gotta do is make an adjective from that. Which, huh? I guess that would be, hmm, Fuki. Um, oh, for sure. That would be like fo, of course. Uh, fo, and with the adverbial fo. Um, so stone, stain, yeah. Similarly, we'll go down here and we will write oh, that would be oh. Okay, so I'm thinking here that an Aedian will likely confuse oh with something that's like it's often used as a prefix for verbs related to giving and bestowing things upon someone. Uh, so what we could do, perhaps use some morphology from the other material words. So I have a word, for example, meaning of copper, with yol from yuba. I should have a word of wood. Okay. Yeah, shabby. Okay, so perhaps they could like sort of repurpose this little bit here, because they might. I'm pretty sure they'd sort of confuse the like that adjective if we're just left as all. Um, so we could call it obi by analogy, and have the adverbial form ogbi. Stain. Okay, so we have got, and do we have a word for hard, rigid, something like that? If we do, which is also taken from that very ukao here. So does anyone have an idea for? I kind of want to derive a word for hard, as in like a material being hard, from something else. I want to do something funky. So when something is hard, I'm thinking of like essentially it's hard to destroy, it's hard to pierce, it's hard to do anything to, really. So perhaps this word could be derived maybe like tough, as in tough to chew. Maybe it's like, oh, it could be like raw. So raw meat is tough to chew, it's hard to get through, and that could sort of become the word for hard and stuff like that. So if we have a word for raw, which we do not have a word for raw. Oh, rough, cold. Cold is a good one, actually. I should have a word for cold, right? Yeah, I do. How is that realized to you? Do I have a word for that? Yeah, okay. So could we derive this maybe hard could come from rock or trunk. So the thing is I already have a word meaning hard, which is derived from rock, and and this word kind of has other connotations. It also means like excited, or like a bowstring that's that you've drawn, that it's like bang, ready to, kind of think of the English word here. So it's and everything that's tight and like it's something like that. But a trunk, uh, shell, horn, tusk, scale-like. Right. I could look into some of my roots here and see if I have something like. Okay, so I actually have ngo, which is like has to do with eggs and shells and such. So surely. Okay, so we could actually make a funky adverb from this, no, adjective from this, meaning hard. That would be mawo, and it would have the adverbial mawo, which would mean hard. Ho. Materiell. I have to think in both Danish and English at the same time. And also Aedian. So it gets it's a little hard. So hard of material. And this would turn out in Aedian as a mo, with the adverbial mawo. I feel like I have another word called mo. Do I not? No, I don't. Okay, fine. Am I sure? Oh, that's also a name. That's funny. Don't remember what I derived this from, but it's a female name apparently. Mo. Huh. Maybe Mo is a tough lady. So adjective, hall. I'm not so yet. That's about all I can think of right now. Hej, jeg sidder lige og streamer faktisk. Ja, det må du godt. Det kan bare alle sammen høre dig. De forstår ikke dansk. Ja, så godt. Lige måde. Right, that was my sister. Oh, so Ollie says name puns. Oh yeah, so actually, if you want to talk about names, like there's there's so I made the Valentine's Day post about two of my Aedian characters, um, Asu um, and Shili. And Asu is actually a diminutive of the word pear blossom. So his name, and I find that adorable. Um, and a lot of diminutives end in su, so you could probably make some, I don't know, some cute sort of some cute word with uh, some pun maybe. I'm not sure. Um, and then there's Appu, the name of the girl here in the story. Um, Appu uh, is also the word, the verb, meaning to uh, make someone lighten up, to um, get someone in a good mood. Originally meaning something um, like it means like putting wood on a fire and blowing on a fire to make it bloom, I guess. Um, so I think an Aedian speaker might hear her name and get that kind of get the connotations of that name. Um, but yeah, so now I have a word for hard. Uh, so this spearhead hits a the spearhead hits uh, the ground, which is not soil. It's rock. I guess there's some rock at the surface right about there. So koituttaessais be tude hits, what is it? It hits the hard mau rockin, which would be obi nuda, and I think nuda, where does it, oh, that in its in its sort of definite form. So today and then I'd make like another main clause here, which is signified, it's signaled by this particle I, which is like it further explains something, like it adds information to an event, explaining it further, or saying, oh, it adds usually unexpected information or something that you wouldn't naturally deduce from the thing here. So the spearhead hits the hard rock and ground, and then and it gets bent. So do I have a word for bend? Oh, yeah. I do not. Huh. I could have sworn. Okay, I don't apparently. So does anybody want to help me make a word for to bend? Or should that just be its own root? I wonder. Something tells me that this should be its own root, but I'm not sure. So if anybody wants to chime in with anything, yeah, this is probably its own root. wants to give like their like if anybody has an idea for what that root might sound like, could be nomu or lahta or hkapa or lamu, lahta, tamu. Not sure here. I want there to be a diphthong maybe. La, lo, lai, no. Perhaps liu, no. Lo, lofpu. Lofpu, yeah, that's the one I'm going for. Lofpu. Oh yeah, then I'll add information to that root later on. This gives us the word lofu. And so the thing being translated here is it's a short story that I have written in Danish for the purpose of being translated into Aedian, a language that a conlang of mine. It's a naturalistic conlang. At least it's one that I try to make naturalistic, and we're just. I guess I'm just. We've just. Well, I have just decided on a route to bend. Ollie asks, is Aedian related to Pagan? Yes, it is. In fact, the Aedians live so close to the Pagans that they tend to enslave them, which is I guess the backside of the story here. But yes, they are related and they live very close by one another. So lofu here is our verb, which is divalent, and I suppose it would take a accusative complement. And if anyone has any ideas for some polysemy for bend, I'd be open for it, because at this point, I can't really think of anything. So what are we doing here? Low would be the modern, I guess you could say, the Aedian realization, with a lot of lexical borrowing happening. And then, yeah, actually, Aedian has a lot of words related to agriculture that are taken from Pagan. Well, not like agriculture. That's not necessarily the word that's most accurate, but horticulture, I guess you could say. So low with the perfect loi. Ben could come from stretch, pull, from great. So only I don't know if you're behind on the stream, or maybe I'm just delivering the stream slowly. But I already did decide on, I just ended up making a new route for to bend. Um, Lo Loau would be the uh, definite the imperfect here, and we would have a nominalized a nominalized perfect as lo. Verb diamond by you. But I do like that the polysemy of, like, I suppose it could go the other ways, because if you're bending something, you're usually, if you're actively bending something, it's usually to make something out of it by bending it. So if I'm bending a piece of copper, it's usually with the purpose in mind. So I like that idea of, creating something, but that could also be turned around like passively. So you could have a passive meaning to, like, become. Oh, I'm writing in English now. To become, to be made into, um to turn into something like that. Believe lavet til gøres. And then that would be in the oblique case. Or maybe in the, no, that would be incorporated, actually, now that I think about it. Right. So it gets spent. That would be loath. But oh, I just realized we've got a, why not write this or an Aedian directly rather than Trinidad, and thereby getting the bias of the source languages? That is a great question, and that's one I have been asking myself a lot in this process. And I think I just this was more. I think this is more of a way for me to see what I can do with Aedian, and I know that in many ways I am, getting bias from Danish, and I can see the effect of Danish on this text here, but I guess it just doesn't really bother me, because I know why it's there. I think I don't really. I think I don't have the patience either. I literally don't. I don't think I have the patience to figure out a tradition of storytelling on my own like this. I'm sure that once I get more experienced with Aedian and I have used for a long enough time, I can just, do it on the fly and do it in Danish, no, in Aedian originally. But that's not really what I ended up doing. And this is fun too. It's a way for me to say, okay, what can I do with Aedian so far? and I do try my best to think how would uh, how would this how would an Aedian say this rather than how would an Aedian translate it directly from Danish. Um, I do try to do that as much as possible. Luckily, since I guess I'm not very adventurous with my conlang, so Aedian is in a lot of ways somewhat Indo-European in structure, just a bit. Um, so syntactically, you don't. Uh, it's not a lot of trouble. So Ollie says if you don't already have a large lexicon, it can be a pain. Well, the thing is, I actually do have a pretty substantial lexicon already, but whatever. What are we looking at here? Right, so we've got this rockin' um, floor, ground. So Evaristo says, thanks so much for the stream. Cawlo, have a nice night. Thank you so much, and you too. I probably won't stay up much longer, because it is like it's midnight in an hour. So okay, so I think I'll make a relative class here to get so this is the rock and floor or ground or whatever you might say, upon which the deer is lying, and I think I'll use Eiga here. I basically have two different. I find it interesting to explore what's natural to the language rather than radical in that regard. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's radical. It's pretty it is definitely. I think it's what most people try to do, not using the metaphors of the source language, and I definitely do not use whenever there are metaphors here in the Danish text. I attempt not to translate them like that. I definitely do make up Aedian versions, or not make up Aedian versions. They wouldn't use a metaphor for that or something like that. And I try to be fair to different constructions. That's one thing that I focus a lot on. That's constructions, different ways of constructing certain certain fields of semantics. I guess so. This is our relative particle here, and I guess we will need a deer. Dirus. And to lie, done something luddy. So that would be laditka for this part here. Agedaius laditka today I loathe. so this I'm thinking about like this verb does this low verb does kind of sound a lot to me like it's an active thing, like like it is being bent by someone, and so I should think of like how do I express that this is it it's it just happens to be bent. It becomes bent by its own like uh striking against the rock. Um, mm, and I wonder. So I wonder if I can derive something from that. Um, oh, I could use like, oh, so when you get bent, you sort of become deformed. Um, so I could derive something from like form, shape. I so Kura. Um, so what would we be looking at here? Kura, is that a infixing word? Okay, it is. It's an infixing word. So Kamura, Kamura? No. Kura. Oh, so we would be looking at an Aedian word. Thumra, which okay, so that would mean like um to become deformed or to lose one's shape. Oh, what is happening here? Uh, um, what's going on? There. So, Thumra. So our little infixed M here it's from in an earlier form where there was a mu here. It's an infix that means it makes it negative, bad, something like that. So uh, to to turn into a bad shape, basically, and that here is elided uh, due to certain uh, Aedian sound laws. So Thumra. Thumra verb, and I guess monovalent, monovalent. Not sure where to put the stress there in English. Believe boil, miste, form. Blive deform is regarding the thing about translating to your conlang instead of from your conlang. In fairness, I do take forever to think through new things in UNLWS. Not sure what that is. Because I do have to fundamentally I guess it's size conlang. Because I do have to fundamentally question the premise of nearly everything, like even whether there should be a word for if, right? And that is some of the. I personally think that's one of the most fun things about this. Though I do find that I don't run into those issues as much because I do have I think I generally have a pretty good feel for how Aedian should, like how they would say certain things. But when I suddenly start questioning it, I think that's that's some of the times that you have the most fun with conlaying. Oh, so thumra. So it actually it would be thumrae, and so that would be our sentence here. Taira de upikya mego ge dairuya ligadubaka kamae kukinu shot kabai suya deride koitu tae taisbe dairus ladit katude ait thumrae. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. Do, 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 do. So this next sentence means I think I'll write it in English for good measure. When the hermit comes home, he flays and butchers the deer, and he then goes to sleep. Being so tired, I guess you would say. Before falling asleep, he sees that Apu is still sleeping. So what we would say in Aedian here, when he comes home, so coming home in Aedian is just to come to the house. Come to the house. The house implying one's own house. So that's our verb here, sadu, to come to the wu, and so our friend Giratinas in the nominative case with the s here. Giratinas bukya. No, that would be Giratinas bukya sada. Coming home. So he comes home and then so he so do we have a word for to butcher? We do, damegu. Okay. Da dairuya da dairuyaki damego. And then, so after that, so we would have to put this in the conditional damegosai. So damegosai, and then I have a construction for to go to sleep. Thing, which is to put oneself under the blanket. Okay. So he does that. Kulimoogitiaki Dakatil. And then we need the adverbial. I have a nice word for tired here. Oh yeah, I have two words for tired. We have Yushuba, which is the standard way of saying it, and we have Shosho, which is a sort of that's childish speech. It's a childish version of the same adjective. It's one I really like. I really like the sound of that word. So, Yushoba would be put in here, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yes, I do. I actually think. Yeah, I met you at LCC 8. I think it must have been like the last one that was held. And I do remember meeting you, and I heard about that language of yours, and I think I also did read about it some years ago. Very impressive. Not that I understand anything of it, honestly, but yeah, I have definitely seen it. There's you can get it on a T-shirt, right? So, do we have a word for before? I do, apparently. Okay. That'll be ro. Okay. So, and that takes the finalis mode. Okay. Um, and to fall asleep, it's one of those words while translating this story, because it's all about going asleep, waking up the next day, going asleep, waking up the next day. So I should be city, right? Yeah, right. It's right here. So, but I could use asti because that sort of has to fall, um, and so that, or like it's when a tree falls or a building collapses or something like that. So it's like I like the connotation of that word. So guastimai. So he to fall asleep. He sees something. What does he see? Something. I forget if that's supposed to be in the accusative. Oh no, that's in the oblique case. Teki. No, dero appus. And do I have a word for still? Like still continuously? Yeah. Okay. So atta. Uh, so atta atta Tasidipka show. All right, that was that paragraph. So far, he has been out hunting, and his heavenly weapons have been destroyed, and he comes home uh, tired and finds that Apu is still sleeping. Um, mm, mm, mm. So this should be in the same section, right? Yeah. Okay. So looking at the time, I'm going to say that uh, I am way too tired to keep going. Um, it's been fun. I hopefully next time we will have a little less, um, a little fewer problems with the internet, so that I don't cut out as often, which we've had a few problems with tonight. So other than that, I just want to say it was fun having you here, and I hope to be able to do this sometime again soon in the future. Probably not uh, before, like, probably not in 3 weeks, as I'm going into some